The No Debt, No Sweat seminar was
Really
very good.
great. Very applicable, very practical. Steve was great. The lessons were wonderful. You'll enjoy it. Your lives will be blessed.
Impacted us.
The Steve Diggs No Debt, No Sweat workshop was great for us. All the biblical foundations that he gave to us just gave us a whole new perspective on how we can manage our finances. It was great.
Hello, I'm Steve Diggs, and I want to invite you to be with us for the No Debt, No Sweat Christian Money Management Seminar. This is going to be a very life-affirming, very life-changing visit. This is a seminar where we're going to be talking about how to take control of our money so our money stops controlling us. This is going to be a seminar where we are going to make some of the devil's worst nightmares come true. Actually, the No Debt, No Sweat seminar is for two groups of people. It is for those of us here who are struggling, who need to get out of debt. We need to beat the credit cards and stop fighting with our spouses over the money. This is a seminar where we're going to teach you how to develop budgets and really change the way we do lives. But also, this is for another group of people. It's for those of us here who are doing very well, who want to learn more about godly giving. What do we teach our children about money? How do we invest correctly? And also, how do we get ready for a dignified retirement? Now, in the No Debt, No Sweat seminar, we're going to be visiting on 4 different sessions. The first session of our seminar is our Get Acquainted session. This is when I want to talk with you a little bit about Bonnie's and my own story. Back in the late 1970s, Bonnie and I were newlyweds, and we were deeply in love with each other. She's still my best buddy. She just picked my option up for another 2 years. But we were having problems in the late 1970s because we had too much debt. We had all the school debt, the credit cards, the car loans, all of that junk. And going into the 1980s, we just realized that's not the way God needs us to be living. So in the 1980s, we began to apply some new principles. By the way, did you know that there are more than 2,200 passages in our Bibles that deal with money and materialism? But at any rate, through the 1980s, Bonnie and I started to apply those principles. And by the end of the 80s, Bonnie and I had stepped totally out of debt. We even paid off our home. Life got better. So in that first session, we're going to get to know one another. And we're going to also talk a little bit about how we Christians tend to anesthetize our own pain, sometimes by our spending. The second session, that session is the center of the entire seminar. This is the ABCs of godly money management. In this session, I want to share with you the 3 great principles of getting the money dealt with. The A, that's when we're going to talk a little bit about learning how to acknowledge who it is that owns everything. This is a teaching on godly giving and stewardship, getting our hearts right before God. And by the way, I want to share with you 3 foundational principles from Scripture on our giving. The B, well, that's what I'm going to have to use the bad word. We're going to talk about budgets. Nobody likes to talk about budgets, but we're going to have some fun doing this. We call these personal financial freedom plans. And I want to show you the 9 keys to follow that will get your money directed in the way it should go going forward. The C, that is for the word control. And this is where we're going to learn how to control our money by building what I call a wolf barrier. This is a 10-stone wall designed to keep the wolf away from our front door. What do you do if you lose your job? How do you get your emergency fund together? How do you get totally out of debt, not counting your home loan, in 1 to 4 years? How do we teach our children about money? How do we pay for college? And by the way, parents, I'll tell you, I don't believe that just because we hatch one of them that we necessarily owe our children a college education. I'm going to show you some creative ways to pay for college. How do we get ready for retirement? How do we become long-term givers to God? There are 10 stones, and when you stack these correctly, the wolf can never get back to our front door. That's the second session. Then in the third session, this is the one when I kind of have to talk about the hard things. This is when I'm talking to the roughly 75% of the people in any audience who are struggling with the money. Credit cards. Are these things plastic prosperity or plastic explosives? I'm going to give you some very interesting thoughts about the credit card industry, and I'm going to show you how it works. We're going to talk about bill consolidation loans, debit cards, and also in this same session, I want to give you a 7-step do-it-yourself credit repair kit. How do we honorably deal with our debts and get them behind forever? And I'll also show you, if you want me to, a little 4-step plan to get totally rid of your car loan. It's these car loans and credit cards that are weighting us down so much and making it impossible for us to get along with our spouses, to get ahead, or to give the way we should. We're going to change some things in session number 3. Then in our final session, session number 4, That is my favorite session. This is when we talk about getting ahead. Session number 4 is when I want to share with you the 6 secrets of the world's really successful investors. These are 6 simple principles that most of us don't understand, but when we apply them, they change lives and legacies. We'll talk about investing. We'll talk about how mutual funds work. And also, I do want to talk with you a little bit about the difference between God's way of investing and Satan's way of investing, which is based on greed. We're all going to have a good time together. Everybody that attends is going to get a cool little workbook. You'll be able to go home with a good packet of material that will help you going forward. We're all going to be getting together. I want you to be with us. And before you come, be sure to pick up the phone and call a couple of friends. I'll see you at the No Debt, No Sweat Money Management Seminar.
What'd you think of that?
I loved it. It was great. No debt, no sweat. We're going to get out of debt. We're going to get us a emergency budget. And the most important thing we're going to do is we're going to get one of those I don't need this job anymore accounts.